Hello everyone, this is Crystal Putoff from Prayerful Arts, and I'm going to be doing a series of videos based on some suggestions from a viewer, Mary. So thank you, Mary, for this suggestion. She sent me a picture. I'll show you the picture. I've had to print it out. She said, "Do you know how to do this division?" And I thought I had done this before. I did something similar. It wasn't exactly this. So this one was a little more difficult than the one I had done, but I did figure out how to do this division on an egg. Now, I will tell you, it's a lot different to this pattern on a flat surface than a round surface. So there are some challenges to it. But I'm going to show you how I took this and I made this. So let's get started with how you divide this up and come up with the final Pysanky. There are also some other variations of this that I will do in subsequent videos. So let's get started. So let's get started on this division. I'll just tell you right up front, you need to be very patient, and it's going to require some measuring and some precision. So if you like more of the free form, you may not like this division. Here we go. All right, here's the goose egg. I am using, this one is 2 3/4. I am going to mark at 90, 45, 90, 60, 45, 90. Anyway, I am going to mark around this egg 8 times. So I'm going to make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's a little sloppy, 8. And so that, it's black lines, so I'm actually going to draw these rather darkly on here because I'm going to be putting the egg in the black dye. So let's start and draw these lines. I'd already marked the top. There will be 8 lines going all the way around this. This is a pretty big goose egg. You don't have to do a goose egg. I'm doing the goose egg again so you can see the pattern a little easier. You can do it on a chicken egg. You could do it on a bigger egg. It is just going to take some time to measure it all out. And I found that once I got the hang of it, it went faster. All right, so here we have all of these lines drawn around it. So you can see there are, there's 4 lines going all the way around. So the egg is divided into 8 sections. And these templates I got from the Ukrainian gift shop. You are going to need something where you can divide the egg into 8 pieces, and then you're also going to need something with 60 degrees. So however you do it, you're going to need that. Now the next thing I'm going to do is mark, and I'm not drawing an equator line, I'm just making a little mark at the halfway point. So this is kind of 12 centimeters top to bottom. So make a little mark there. And we're going to go around and do that on all of these. And, all right, confession. I'd already started to draw the lines on here so I could kind of see my previous lines. Can't really see that one where I marked that one there. Okay. All right, so I've marked the halfway point. I'm not going to draw that line. The next thing I'm going to do is take another template. This one's a little smaller, and I am going to place it so that the 90, where it says 90-60, runs along this line, and then I'm, as best I can, I'm going to try where I have that little mark to make sure that lines up with where it says the 90. I don't want to draw, you can draw the equator line if you want to. You can. I'm not, because I'm not going to put wax on it, so I don't want a line there that I'm not going to put wax on. So what I'm going to do now is hold this as best I can and draw from where it says 60. Oops, I must have done something wrong. Here we go. All right, I had to move it over to the next one because that was where I actually drew the lines. So this at the 60, I'm going to draw through that center point and then up to that 60. And then I'm going to draw from that 60 down to that 60. All right, and it looks like that. Now I'm going to extend these lines so that they touch the other one. I guess you really only needed to mark the halfway point on every other line, but I did it on all of them. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure from here to here. And that on this egg is 2.5 centimeters. Your egg is going to be different because it's probably not going to be the same size. So 2.5. So now I'm going to come over here. And 2.5 is kind of an awkward, let's see. So it would be like 1. Oh no, I take that back. All right. Now I'm going to draw from here to there. That's what I'm going to do. And it makes this diamond. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw diamonds all the way around this. Now is where I mark where it is 2.5. Using this as my center point. So it's right there. You want to be, you know, as exact as you can. Just so that your design ends up being even. Again, you know, if you're not into doing a lot of measuring, I wouldn't attempt this pattern. Quite frankly, I wasn't sure I wanted to attempt it. I drew this out on paper several times before I actually figured it out. It took me a couple tries. All right, and we're down at the last one. All right. There we go. All right. So I have 4 diamonds around the egg, and they're kind of what I would say like a squishy diamond. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, my tape measure, and since this was 2.5, I put the 2.5 there, and I'm marking it here, and then I'm going to mark it down here at the 5. I'm going to do that on all of these lines. There's 5. And we're going to draw 4 triangles above, you know, 4 above these and 4 below these, using these as our guides. So I'm going to take this line and extend it to there, and then come down. They don't, if you're doing this on a flat surface, everything's going to be nice and even, and these lines will look like one continuous projected line. It's not going to look like that on an egg because it's a curved surface. And as we go up, it's getting smaller, and as we're going down, it's getting bigger. So I drew the 4 there. Now I'm turning it over, and I'm going to draw 4 here. So I have this 6 is what you're looking for, but there is space here. So I am going to continue to do this. I'm going to mark the 2.5 here and do kind of repeat this, and then I'm going to start drawing what goes in each one of these to make the rest of the interlocking Y pattern. So now I have all of these diamonds drawn, and as you can see, like here, they're kind of this nice even shape. They change as they go up. We will have to adapt the Y pattern as we go up. Now what I'm going to do is in each one of these, I'm going to draw a Y shape, kind of like an upside down Y shape. And here's where when I initially did this, I tried to measure it to make it exact, but that didn't really work because, again, I'm working with a curved surface. If it had been flat, it would have worked. So I'm going to start here. I'm going to pick about maybe about the center. And I'm going to draw a line down. And then I'm going to draw this one and this one. So I kind of drew an upside down Y. What you really do want to try to do is get these two somewhat straight across from each other. Now I'm going to draw a Y here. And this needs to touch that and that there. And again, you want these about the same. Now I'm going to draw a Y in this, and I'm going to start it here. And do the same thing. I want these to be kind of right across from each other. Now this one I'm going to draw here, and I want it to be somewhat across. And now we'll do this one. You just got to kind of repeat this. And if it's not exactly even, you know, it'll work out in the end by the time you get the colors on it. So I've done these. Now let's try to do this one. So we want this line to kind of line up with this line. So we want it to be like right about here. And it's going to connect there and there. And then this one will be here. And I'm eyeballing a lot of this. You can measure it, but if you take your time and go slowly, you're going to end up with pretty even ones. So in each one of these, I'm going to draw this. Now at the very top, I know I have triangles here, but I'm probably just going to leave that like a solid color. Well, let's try. Let's see. Okay, so we want this to be even with that. There. Oops, I kind of messed that up. So I want that to touch there. This, here. Yeah, I don't think it's going to work up here. We'll just leave that. Yeah, we'll just leave that, I think. So, okay, I'm going to keep working and drawing all of these Ys. Drawing very dark because I'm going to dye this black. And then I will put all of the lines on it. And then I will wash it, etch it if I have to. And then we'll start putting the color on it. All right. Again, I'm going to take my time. They're not going to be exactly even because of the curved surface, as it would be if I did it on a flat piece of paper, which is how I drew it out. But this is going to work. I'll show you just like, here was like what I was trying to draw out and making my little notes. All right, so when I come back, the egg will be dyed. I will have drawn all these lines, dyed the egg black, applied all the wax to the black lines, and then etched it so the egg will be white with just the black lines. So here we have this beautiful Pysanky. I dyed it in the yellow, and I wanted it to be just a shade darker, so I put it in the gold. These are Ukrainian gift shop colors. The yellow has vinegar and the gold does not, so that's why I wanted to do the yellow first and then the gold. I'm going to start putting the wax on it, and as I said, this part is going to take a little while. And I am going to use my candle heated, alcohol heated Kiska, and this is going to be challenging because, okay, I'm going to move the flame off to the side because it's going right up into the camera. I don't really need that. So I'm going to get it hot, and then I'm going to take it away from the flame and wipe it off. And there is already some wax in it. So where I want to put wax is this, like this part of the Y. And you could use any color combinations that you wanted for this. I'm choosing the warm colors, but you could do shades of blue. You could do a light blue, a medium blue, a dark blue. You could do, you know, any 3 shades of color that you like would look nice. You don't have to do just 3 colors. I suppose you could do 6 and alternate them, but I would definitely do, like, if you did these yellow, I would do them yellow everywhere. I wouldn't bounce around and like, oh, make this part yellow and another one, because you will lose the 3D effect that this is giving. So I hope that makes sense, that you want to the same area, you want to keep the same color. So like if you wanted to do these in yellow and then maybe these in light blue, you could do that, but you'd want to do light blue there everywhere. Hope that makes sense. Anyway, this, as I said, this is going to take a little while. You come back, my goal is to be ready to show you the wax off part. So that'll be next. Here is the egg at this point. I wanted to show you something that I'm doing before I take the wax off. The last color I'm dyeing it in is going to be the red. However, I did this area here, kind of this band. I do not want that to be red. I want that to be purple. And what I should have done was, when I rinsed the egg back, I should have made it purple then. But I forgot. So what I've done now is I have I've waxed the red that's around here because I'm going to take my concentrated dye. This is the purple. And I'm going to paint it into that area. And in case I slop any of it, this will prevent it from getting into the red area. So just going to kind of go over it like this. And then we'll see what happens. Just using my little paintbrush, going over it. And because I've waxed this red area, it's not really going to matter if I get any of the dye on that, because it'll stay red because there's wax on it. So I didn't wax the whole thing, so I do want to be careful that it doesn't run. But so far it's looking pretty good here. Okay, there we go. Now I'm just going to blot that off. And because I'm not putting it in any other colors, I don't really need to cover that with wax. So I'm going to do the same thing down here at the bottom, and then we will take the wax off. Since there was so much wax on the egg, I decided that I would take the wax off in the oven. So the oven has been set to 200 degrees Fahrenheit. The egg has been in there for a couple of minutes. I'm ready to take it out. Very carefully. There we have it. Well, that was the oven saying it was hot enough. I actually put the egg in when I started to preheat it. So it sat in there for a few minutes, and now I'm ready to take the wax off. All right. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. So if you use this method and you think, well, it doesn't feel like the wax is just coming off, you might need to put it back in there for a few more minutes. So this is, yeah, that turned out really nice. Okay, I am very happy with it. So next step is I will let it cool off. I have the one little spot where I missed a line. I have to fix that. And then I'll varnish it. So in my next video, I will be doing this Y, but a little different variation. So it's going to start with the same divisions that we used for this one, but then the Y is going to look, I'm calling this a Y. That's what I call the Y, yellow, orange, red. It's going to be look a little different, but we'll be starting with the same lines. Purple might not have been the best choice. It shows up better off camera than it does on camera. All right. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for next week when we do another variation of this one.